Solutions. Add-on desires.
Hello viewers, welcome to Add-on Solutions Daily News Analysis session. I am Lokesh Pelgonda. We'll begin our session with a quote. Today is your opportunity to build the tomorrow you want. Our first article is about Niti Aayog's vision for Great Nicobar Island. In this article, we can see that the Niti Aayog has provided for the phase 1 part of the holistic and sustainable vision for the Great Nicobar Island. So first, where is this Great Nicobar Island? You can see the Andaman and Nicobar Island chain, and you can see here the Great Nicobar Island. This is the southernmost island in the Andaman and Nicobar Island chain, and to develop infrastructure support and to bring in more number of projects in this area, the Galathiya National Park, which is in the Great Nicobar, has been denotified so that new infrastructural projects can be brought in. First, we'll see the statistics of the phase 1 given for the holistic and sustainable vision for Great Nicobar Island development. 150 square kilometers have been set aside for the infrastructural development, and this is 18% of the 910 square kilometers island. That is, 18% of the island is set aside for the development for the phase 1, and it is also amounting to 25% of the total coastline of this island, and the total project phases will be amounting to 244 square kilometers. That is, first will be 150 and the rest phases will be amounting to 94 square kilometers. So now we'll see what are the developmental projects, what are the infrastructure projects that will be coming up in this island. First, airport complex, transshipment port, mass rapid transport system, and warehouse complex. This is all coming in Great Nicobar Island, and in the February of 2021, we have seen a project draft for developing the Little Andaman Island. So where is this Little Andaman Island? Little Andaman Island is the southernmost part of the Andaman Island chain, and the Andaman Island chains and the Nicobar Island chains are divided by the 10-degree channel. And you can see here both the southernmost islands of Andaman and Nicobar Island chains respectively are selected for the developmental of infrastructure projects. So what all will be constructed in the Little Andaman Island? There will be a construction of Greenfield Coastal City. This will be developed as a free trade zone, and it is aimed to compete with the likes of Singapore and Hong Kong. So these are the various infrastructural projects that will be coming up in these two islands. Now we'll see who will be the implementing agency, that is, who will be the nodal body to implement the various projects that are given in this draft. Andaman and Nicobar Islands Integrated Development Corporation has been notified as a nodal agency for these developmental works. And what are the various advantages that are expected from these infrastructure projects? First will be increase in connectivity. As you can see here, the Andaman and Nicobar Island chain of islands are far from the mainland, and only one airport exists among all these islands. That airport is at Port Blair, and due to lack of proper connectivity between the mainland to these islands and also lack of connectivity from one island to other island, the number of people who travel to these islands is very low. So by bringing in airports, by bringing in transshipment port, and by also bringing mass rapid transport system, the connectivity will get a boost in this region. So due to increased connectivity, due to increased infrastructure projects, there will be increase in tourism from both mainland to the islands and also from one island to the other island. And it would also lead to increase in the trade and commerce. As we can see here, the transshipment port and also the warehouse complexes, this will be helping the ships to station their goods there, and it could also help in transshipment of their goods. So there will be increase in the trade and commerce in the region. And due to the construction of all these islands and due to economic activity in this region, the investments coming to this region will increase. For infrastructure development of airport and transshipment port alone, 12,000 crores investment is expected. And apart from these two, many other infrastructure projects are also coming up. So the investments will be worth in crores. So there will be increase in the investments in this region. The increase in the investments and the increase in the infrastructure creation will lead to increase in the jobs. So on the whole, due to all these reasons, there will be economic growth in this region. So these are the various advantages Niti Aayog aims to achieve through this holistic and sustainable vision for development of these islands. But there are many concerns raised, especially by the environmental groups. So what are these concerns? First is denotification of Galathea Bay Wildlife Sanctuary. Here, I've said that Galathea Bay Wildlife Sanctuary, which is in the Great Nicobar Island, will be denotified so that infrastructure projects can come up in this region. So environmentalists allege that by denotifying this region, by denotifying this forested area, the forest ecosystem in this area will come down. It will lead to loss of biodiversity. It will lead to loss of flora and fauna. Also, as the flora and fauna in this region are endemic and rare, it is important for us to protect. So we have examples like Nicobar wild pig, Nicobar tree shrub, Nicobar paradise, flycatcher, and megapod. So these are some of the endemic and rare species that are generally seen in the Nicobar Islands. So by bringing up infrastructure projects and by denotifying this region, there will be deforestation and also loss of all these lives and all the flora and fauna in this region. Also, the Galathea Wildlife Sanctuary and the Galathea Bay is the home to the nesting sites of giant leatherback turtles. By bringing up a transshipment port and by denotifying this area, the giant leatherback turtles nesting sites will be badly affected. Also, it could lead to the endangering of indigenous tribes who live in Nicobar and in the islands nearby the Great Nicobar, such as Champion, Ongi, and such other tribes which are indigenous to this region. They can be endangered due to coming up of migrants and due to coming up of infrastructural projects. Their lifestyle, their culture might be affected. So it could also lead to socio-demographic changes because many people will come to work, will come to do business here and will establish and make new homes. So as more and more amount of people coming from mainland to the Andaman and Nicobar Island chains, the demographic of this area will change definitely. And also these islands development are being taken up without any proper environmental impact assessment or in fact any other assessment. Even if they have taken any assessment, the reports of these assessments are not out in the public domain. And in the 2004, we have witnessed a huge tsunami, and this tsunami has also hit the island chains of the Andaman and Nicobar. And the IIT report of 2005 have recorded witnesses saying that there was 3 to 4 meter high tides during this region, during the tsunami. So this region is vulnerable not only to the tsunamis, also geologically volatile region. by bringing up huge projects and by bringing up such huge infrastructure in this region, the volatility will increase. Also, in 2004, as the number of people living in this region and also the property is less, the damage was less. But now, due to more amount of people who will be potentially living in this region, and by bringing in more amount of infrastructure, if there is any tsunami, this could also lead to damage and loss of life to not only property but also to lives of people. So all these vulnerabilities, all these potential negative effects is leading to concern of the possible effects on life, property and investment. So these are some of the concerns raised. So what is the way forward? First, there is a need for proper assessment on the impact of this infrastructure creation on the environment and also on the flora and fauna of this region. So first, there is a need for environmental impact assessment, and this assessments report should be kept in the public domain so that independent experts can review it and can give suggestions. Second, enough steps should be taken up to prevent disasters and to take necessary welfare steps in the case of tsunami and other disasters. And also, there is a need to safeguard the tribals population living in this region. So, this is the way forward. Next, we'll be going to the next article. 1 second. Here, we have said that the Galathea Wildlife Sanctuary has been denotified by the National Board for Wildlife. We'll see what is this National Board for Wildlife. This board is a statutory organization. It was created under the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. Its role is mainly advisory in nature. It gives advices to the central government on framing the policies regarding the conservation of wildlife in the country. Also, its primary function is to promote the conservation and the development of wildlife and forests. Now we see that there is no alteration of boundaries in the national parks and wildlife sanctuaries can be done without the approval of National Board for Wildlife. So this organization is important to denotify or change the borders. Its permission is required. Its composition is, it is chaired by Prime Minister. That is, Prime Minister of the country will be the chairperson of this organization, and on the whole it will have 47 members. So this is a brief idea about National Board for Wildlife. Next is an article talking about the new bill which was introduced by the Ministry of Home Affairs regarding the National Capital Territory of Delhi. Recently, the Ministry of Home Affairs has brought in a bill called as Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi Amendment Bill 2021. It aims to modify the earlier 1991 bill so that whatever ambiguities that are existing on the powers of the Lieutenant Governor, these can be resolved, and also to make the National Capital Territory Act to bring this act in line with the judgments of the Supreme Court in the 2008 landmark judgment. First, we need to understand the background of Delhi. Delhi is not only an union territory, but it is also the National Capital Territory of India. That is, it is the headquarters, it is the capital of India, and it houses important organizations and headquarters of many central government organizations. Also, it houses the parliament, it houses the central secretariat, it houses embassies of various countries. So it was important to keep the Delhi safe and secure. For administering this union territory, the Constitutional Amendment Act 69th in 1991 has brought in legislative assembly for Delhi. That is, it is a union territory with a legislative assembly similar to Pondicherry. As earlier, we've seen that it is important for the central government to secure and to keep the various organizations and various institutions in Delhi secure. It was thought that some powers of ruling the Delhi should be kept with the center, and some other functions, such other subjects can be given to the Legislative Assembly. So, according to this act, the Legislative Assembly of Delhi has power to make all laws on all matters except on public order, police and land. And Article number 239 AA was brought in by the 69th Constitutional Amendment Act 1991, and it also brought in an administrator called as Lieutenant Governor. He will be mainly to aid work under the aid and advice of the elected government. But due to many differences on the working and administering of the region, there is huge issues between the state government of Delhi and the central government, and due to which they have to go to the Supreme Court. And in 2018, the Supreme Court has said that Lieutenant Governor has to work with the aid and advice on the Council of Ministers, and Supreme Court has clarified that Lieutenant Governor had not been entrusted with any independent decision making power when it comes to matters that are entrusted to the Legislative Assembly of Delhi. Also, it said that any matter which the Lieutenant Governor can refer to the President does not mean every matter. That is, if there is any difference of opinion, and if there is any matter which the Lieutenant Governor wants to send it to the President, this should not be for every matter, and it should only be limited for some. The Supreme Court also recognized the Assembly's right and said that Union has exclusive powers in only the three issues, which are land, police and public order. But now the Ministry of Home Affairs has brought in a new bill which proposes the changing of term government in any law by the Legislative Assembly would mean legislative governor. That is, it proposes a provision which would say wherever the term government is used, it would mean the Lieutenant Governor and not the Legislative Assembly or the executive of the Delhi. This is one provision which is being proposed. Second is, the Assembly shall not make any rules or committees to consider day-to-day administration or conduct inquiries. Till now, the Legislative Assembly of Delhi has constituted some committees to consider the day-to-day activities of the Delhi and of the administration of the Delhi. Now, the bill says whatever the committees which are constituted by the Legislative Assembly will be declared void, because the proposals which are under consideration of the bill will have a retrospective effect. And also, the bill proposes that before taking any executive action, the opinion or Lieutenant Governor should be obtained by general or special order, this is against the principles, against the provisions of the Constitution, because Constitution only said that only police, public order and land will be with the Lieutenant Governor, and Legislative Assembly can act on any other subjects which are given to it. But the bill provides for taking the opinion of the Lieutenant Governor before taking any cabinet opinion or cabinet decision. Also, the Lieutenant Governor will have powers to reserve any bills and any matters outside the purview of the powers conferred by the Legislative Assembly. So, this is seen as against the orders given by the Supreme Court, because Supreme Court has said that any order that the Lieutenant Governor can give to the President for consideration does not mean every order, but the provision of this proposed bill is stating that the Lieutenant Governor can take any bill and can reserve it. So these bills are opposed by the Delhi government and many other experts. So now we will see the concerns raised. First, it undermines the legitimacy of the government because the proposed bill states that the term government would mean Lieutenant Governor and not the elected government. So this is widely seen as undermining the legitimacy of the elected government. Second, it goes against the spirit of the 2018 verdict. Supreme Court has said that Lieutenant Governor or the center has only powers with 3 subjects, which are stated as public order, police and law and land. And now the new provision state that Lieutenant Governor's opinion should be taken for any decision by Cabinet of Delhi. That is not only these 3 subjects, but also if the cabinet is planning to take a decision on any other subjects of the union territory, even then the opinion of the Lieutenant Governor should be taken. So this is seen against the spirit of the 2018 verdict of the Supreme Court. Next issue is it disregards the ideal of democracy. In democratic country and in a democratic format, the elected government should be able to take decisions on its own. But here you can see that the Lieutenant Governor, who is appointed by the center, can be able to veto or give any opinions, or can delay the decisions, or can reserve various bills which are sent, various opinions sent by the cabinet and the legislative assembly. So it disregards the ideal of democracy. Also, it is seen as a huge setback for Delhi's quest for full statehood. Earlier, we have seen many political parties in Delhi protesting to get full statehood, but now even the powers which the union territory have seems to be taken away by the Lieutenant Governor. So it is seen as a huge setback for the Delhi's quest for full statehood. So what is the way forward? First, there is a need to reconsider the bill in the light of Justice D.Y. Chandrachud notes in the 2018 verdict. Mr. D.Y. Chandrachud has said that the elected government should be able to take decisions on its own, and the Lieutenant Governor should act on the aid and advice of the elected government. So this should be the bill should be reconsidered by taking in this note, and next there is a need to send the bill to the select committee so that there can be better deliberation and discussion, and it may lead to changes in this bill. So there is a need to reconsider it, and there is a need to send it to the select committee. Next article is talking about AstraZeneca vaccine and the problems people are facing. Next is talking about AstraZeneca vaccine. You can understand this article by going to the current affairs of 18th March of our ADOT solution. Next, we come to prelims practice question. Consider the following statements. No alteration of boundaries in national parks and wildlife sanctuaries can be done without the approval of National Board for Wildlife. Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change is the chairperson of the National Board for Wildlife. Which of the above statements given above either are correct? The question is asking to find the correct statements. So the answer is only one. because it is not the Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, but rather the Prime Minister of the country who will be the chairperson of this National Board for Wildlife. Second, Legislative Assembly of Delhi cannot make laws on which of the following subjects? Police, land, health, public order. Which of the above statements given is correct? So the answer is D, that is all except 3, because Legislative Assembly can work on any other subjects apart these 3. Next, the 10-degree channel separates which islands of Andaman and Nicobar island chain? Does it separate Lower Andaman and Little Nicobar, Sentinel Island and Car Nicobar, Little Andaman and Car Nicobar, Lakshadweep Islands and Kerala? As seen in the picture, it separates Little Andaman and Car Nicobar. We've taken a previous year's question. Kalamkari painting refers to a hand-painted cotton textile in South India, a handmade drawing on bamboo handicraft in Northeast India, a block-painted woolen cloth in Western Himalayan region of India, a hand-painted decorative silk cloth in Northwestern India. The answer is a hand-painted cotton textile in South India. It is referred as Kalamkari painting. Next, we come to the mains practice question. What are the various concerns raised against the Niti Aayog's holistic and sustainable development plan for Great Nicobar Island? What are the changes proposed in the National Capital Territory of the Delhi Amendment Bill 2021? And what are the concerns raised? So this is the end of this session. Thank you.
Add-on Solutions. Add-on Desires.